conditions, no, for student registration. No? So just as we are committed to developing CRS, we are committed to developing UVLe. Anyway, thank you for joining the seminar. Good luck sa ating lahat sa darating na semester. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Thank you for the message, Chancellor Nemenzo, and welcome to the webinar. Now, let us proceed to the formal event. Let's kindly all welcome Professor Van Sopranis as our speaker for today. Sir Van.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. An energetic afternoon. We will need all of your energy for this 2-hour conversation about UVLe. So let me share my presentation. All right. Okay, again, I'm Van. I'm currently a Program Development Associate for Interactive Learning Center Diliman, and I'm also a faculty from UP School of Statistics. Can you see my slide? Not yet. Right. Is it now visible, my slides? Okay. All right, so the title of my presentation is UVLe for remote e-learning, because we're going to talk about two things. No? So primarily we will talk about UVLe. So what is UVLe? UVLe is short for University Virtual Learning Environment. It is an online learning management system offered in UP Diliman. So as mentioned by Chancellor Nemenzo, it's a homegrown product. Now, if you're not familiar with a learning management system, then this webinar fits you, because we will be discussing the basic features. Again, our goal is more of understanding. We'll be giving you the basic procedures and links to instructional videos so you can practice after the webinar. Now, at the same time, we'll be sharing practical applications. So you'll have tangible examples of what activities you can implement within UVLe in the context of the next topic, which is remote e-learning. So the letter E there is not a typographical error. Since we're talking about an online platform, we will be limiting the examples to online strategies in the context of remote learning. That's why we're calling it remote e-learning. But I'd like to emphasize, as mentioned in the morning session, that remote learning is not limited to online strategies. But this afternoon, the focus is on online strategies. Okay, and again, I encourage you to put your feedback suggestions in the Q&A chat box, because we will be needing that. We'll be needing your feedback because we're in the process of doing upgrades and developing trainings for our teachers. And your feedback will really help us design the training and upgrades we'll be implementing for the first semester. Okay. So the outline of the presentation is we'll start with the preliminaries to orient our teachers who haven't used UVLe. So how do you access UVLe, what's in the home page, course page, etc. And then we'll discuss the basic tools. And we'll also mention advanced tools that may help your course, specific needs of your course, like a peer evaluation system, games, more about quizzes, etc. And we will have intermittent breaks for question and answer. Okay, so this is the login page of UVLe, University Virtual Learning Environment. Right, so what is UVLe? So basically, it can be used to conduct online classes or virtual classrooms. In general, it allows the teachers to do the following: sharing learning resources, gather, provide feedback, assess and monitor student performance, conduct online learning activities, and many more. And we'll go into details of that in the middle portion of the presentation. Okay, so let's start with the first step. Now, how do you access UVLe? What instruction we should be giving to our students so that they will be able to access the website, the UVLe site. Okay, so 3 simple steps. You have to go to the website, uvle.upd.edu.ph, and click login. It's found in the upper right corner of the screen. You can access this by your mobile browser or through desktop or laptop. It's mobile responsive. Regarding mobile application, currently we don't have a dedicated mobile application, but you can use a generic mobile application for Moodle sites like UVLe. So just search for Moodle mobile application, and that can be used to access UVLe, and it's good for students. Okay, so those are the different ways of accessing the site. Okay, uvle.upd.edu.ph, log in and enter the website with your Dilnet username and password. Again, Dilnet is still the primary account that is needed to access the website because it guarantees that the student and the teacher is from UP Diliman. No, and at the same time, we are allowing login via UPmail, but there are additional procedures because we're still in the transition stage, from Dilnet to UPmail. Okay, I'll discuss more on that later. Okay, just few reminders. So for the first-time users of UVLe, after logging in through your Dilnet account, you must update your profile information. And as of the moment, we strongly recommend that you change your primary email to your UPmail so that you will receive your notifications to your UPmail account. And the same advice should be instructed or given to our students. Advise them to change their primary email to their UPmail, UPGmail. Okay? And after updating the profile, just like in any other website, you will be asked to agree with certain terms and conditions, and that is the acceptable use policy of the university. Okay, so for your information, with a big smile, yeah. Okay, UPmail is not the Dilnet. No, I'm aware that many teachers are confused with this because they sound very the same. The UPmail is associated to @up.edu.ph email. No, that's the one we used to open our UP Gmail accounts. While the Dilnet is exclusive for UP Diliman constituents, and it's associated with the UPD webmail, which ends with @upd.edu.ph. I do know that for a number of constituents in Diliman, the username is the same for the UPmail and the UPD webmail. So for most, it's not an issue. But for those, but for some who have forgotten their UPD account already after transitioning to UPmail in their CRS login, just contact UP Computer Center so you can retrieve your username, your Dilnet username and password. So the email address is on the screen, and also helpdesk@upd.edu.ph. Same instruction shall be given to students, to freshman students, new lecturers, teaching assistants, teaching fellows, instructors. For them to be able to access UVLe, they have to request for a Dilnet account. Just email UP Computer Center at helpdesk@upd.edu.ph. Okay? And now I know that there are many faculty who would like to focus on a single account. Since we're still working on making things very convenient, like focus on one account, while we're working on that, you may consider this procedure so that you can use your UPmail as a login to UVLe. So there's a mechanism to link your UPmail to UVLe, and that will allow you to log in UVLe via UPmail. So currently, the current procedure is, for your first login, it's really required to use Dilnet. Then after your first login, you may shift to your UPmail account. Okay, so just go to your preferences, other preferences, and user account others, click link logins. Okay, we have an online article in IELTS Diliman website with screenshots regarding this procedure. So if you want a more visual instruction, just visit our website. And that link is also attached in the login page of the UVLe website. Okay, so again, the primary account that you need to access UVLe is the Dilnet account. That's true for students and teachers. And if you want, you may link your UPmail to UVLe. So you can focus on your UPmail account. All right. So if you were able to successfully log into the UVLe website, the next thing that you will see is the UVLe homepage. So let's just have a quick overview of the homepage. Okay, so this is the interface, the UVLe homepage as of the moment. Right, I'll just show the top buttons. They are the minimum requirement for you to be able to navigate comfortably within the site. So you have your My Courses, right? So just click that link so you can access all of your course pages that you are part of. The courses are arranged by role, as student or as a teacher. So I think most of us are aware that we have constituents in UP Diliman that are students and at the same time teachers, especially the junior faculty members who are still studying in the graduate school. So that's allowed in UVLe. They can have classes wherein their role is a student, and they have classes that their role is a teacher. So the role is set within the course, not within the website. Okay, and you don't have to wait for your faculty module in the CRS to appear before you can use the teacher features. You can automatically request for a course so long as we can verify that you're a teacher in UP Diliman. Yeah, this is also relatively new. We now have the notification bell icon and the speech bubble icon for messages. It works the same as the notification bell icon of Facebook. It's for notifications, and the speech bubble icon is like the Facebook Messenger, but currently it's limited to PMs. So you can send private messages to any user of the OVLE website. Yeah. And then here you have the quick links. It contains the primary or important menus or widgets within OVLE. And if you have to search a particular course page, you just have to go to quick links. Again, we have a specific instructional video regarding this. So if you have to review or you want a more detailed demonstration, you can always check that video. The team will share the link in the chat. And of course, your name, your username. There are a lot of menus under your username, like guide me on this page. So many users don't know about this. So if you hover your mouse on your name, you will see a menu, guide me on this page, and it's a virtual tour. So most pages in UVLe has a virtual tour, and it should help you be more familiar with the interface of UVLe. And then there's my grades, help, a link to IELTS Diliman help desk, and preferences. Anything about editing your profile, notification preferences, messaging preferences, etc. Just go to preferences. So linking to UP Mail is also under preferences. So that's the most important buttons that you have to remember in the home page. If you know those buttons, you can get started with using UVLe. Okay. So once you've logged in to UVLe, you're now in the home page. Of course, the next important question is, how do you get a course page for your class? How to request for a course page. Currently, we have two options. The primary option is the automated one, the one that is done by a CRS. So I do think that most of you have noticed that under your faculty module in CRS, there's a UVLe integration module that just below the instructor's dashboard. Okay, so if the class is already available in CRS, please use UVLe integration module to create your course page. Now, however, if the class is not yet in CRS, for example, it's a bridge course this mid-year, or the course page is being requested for other academic activities like validation exam, UC meeting, and other activities, not academic related, then the request may be made through the ILC Diliman help desk. And again, our help desk site is helpdesk.ilc.upd.edu.ph. So two methods. The first one is automated. The second one is manual requests. Okay, so this is the overview of the UVLe integration module. So if you haven't used this, please be informed that it can be used to automatically create course pages. There's a bit of a lag time, like about an hour or two for batch processing, and we're working on making that faster. But in general, you don't have to wait that long to create the course page. And at the same time, it allows you to sync your class list in CRS with the enrolled students in the UVLe course page. So you don't have to ask your students to enroll themselves to the course page anymore if you're going to use this CRS module. And if there are changes in your class list in the CRS, you simply have to redo the process of syncing, and your UVLe list of students will also be updated. So there's that integration already with CRS database. And more upgrades regarding this integration will be available very soon, no? Soon in the future. Ayan. So this is the primary use of the OVCAA integration module in CRS for creating course pages. Right. We would like to also inform everyone, excuse me, that the OVCAA integration module has advanced features. No? So if you don't know about this, you should just see that there's a checkbox for advanced features. And the advanced features allows you to do two things. You know, the first one is to merge different sections of this course in a single course page. You know, so I guess this is helpful for classes that are large classes with small breakout sessions. You know, so you can use this feature to combine small classes, the discussion classes, into a single large class. You know, and the effect is the students will be grouped by small classes, but they are enrolled in a single course page. So the management of the course is much easier. So if the goal is to merge different course pages, you know, you don't have to go through IELTS Diliman help desk. You know, it may be done through the CRS OVCAA integration module. And the second feature of the advanced function of the OVCAA integration module is that it allows you to link a new course page to an existing course page. So if you are already an experienced user of OVCAA, and you've constructed already your course modules before, and you don't want to start from scratch, then you may link a new course page to an existing course page. The result will be one course page. You know, so the content of the old course page will be included in the new course page. You know. The only thing that you have to remember is if your old course page, the existing one, has enrolled users, it will also be part of the link course page. So if you want to start with a clean list, you have the option to reset your existing course page or to unenroll students in your existing course page before linking them to a new course page. So there's a workaround for the different class structures that we have in UP Diliman. Yeah, so that's for course creation, no course page creation. Okay, so once you've logged in, you have a certain level of familiarity with the home page. You know now how to request a course page. It's now time to learn how to, or understand how to manage a course page. What are the things we have to remember with managing a course page? So for this particular section, I'll discuss the starter set. No, so we have that concept. No, we do recognize that our teachers have different technical skills. No, so at first we offer them a basic set of tools. Then the teacher may opt to choose advanced features if they're very comfortable with the interface. Okay? And then we will also discuss the basic course template, what's in the basic course template. And I think some of you have suggestions regarding the course template. Please do put that in the Q&A box for documentation. So what's in the basic course? Oops, there you go. All right, so by default, teachers are assigned to a teacher basic role, which means they have access to a basic course template and basic features or the starter set. Now, so please note that we've constructed this starter set based on the feedback of teachers from so many years of using OVCAA. So we've identified which features are somehow common across all disciplines, no? And put very specific tools, discipline-specific tools under the advanced teacher role or advanced tool set. Okay, so what do we have in the starter set? So in the starter set, you can do the following. Now, you can do online messaging, forums, polls, resource sharing of any type of document, and of course, assignments, online collection and grading of assignments. So we will discuss the specific features of each activity later. At the same time, a teacher may opt to advance his access to the complete features, which include various types of online quizzes, collaborative tools like a tool for peer evaluation, a tool for groupings, and a tool for gamifications. And in fact, there are a lot more tools available in the complete set of functions of OVLE. And since we are shifting to remote learning, we do know that the norm or the demand for certain activities will be higher. So we already anticipated that we have to move online quizzes and the question bank to the starter set. So that will be available soon. And we already done initial testing and integration of the Zoom activity in OVLE. So Zoom will soon be available in the starter set for synchronous activities. Right. So that's the basic set or starter set. Now this is the basic course template. These are the parts of the basic course template. So again, there's an upgrade button. If you want to access all of the features, click upgrade. If you want to keep things simple, basic, because you're a bit new with using OVLE, don't click upgrade. You may use the starter set. And we don't recommend new users to click upgrade because there's no option to downgrade. So if you accidentally click upgrade and accidentally click yes to continue upgrading and you suddenly got overwhelmed with so many features that you are seeing, you want to go back to the basic role, you can always ask help via ILC Diliman help desk. Okay, so there's always an option to go for advanced feature. So we have blocks within the OVLE course page like activities block, search forums block to help the students access certain activities more easily or more effectively. And then in the middle, every course page has their own announcements forum. You don't have to create it. So by default, you can use this forum for announcements. Everyone is subscribed to this forum. So students will receive email notifications when you post something in this forum. The important thing we have to remember when using announcements forum or with regards to notifications is we have to remind our students that their primary email address in their OVLE profile should be an active email because that's a common problem. They don't update their emails in their OVLE profile. So what happens is they don't receive the notifications. So that's one reminder we should give to our students at the beginning of the SEM. And then at the middle portion, we have the topic sections where we can put the main content. We can change the format and the title of the topic sections as we wish. There are different options for this. Yeah, so here's an example. So you can change the title and you can build your module for each topic section. And then you have your turn on editing button when you want to edit the course page and more blocks, this time related to latest announcements and upcoming events blocks. So there's a note here. If notifications are activated, students will receive notifications reminding deadlines of assignments. Similarly, teachers may receive notifications reminding us to grade assignments. Para balance, hindi lang si student yung remind, we're also reminded as teachers to grade submissions. There. So editing your course page, if you're a basic teacher, you can definitely change the full name as you wish. If you want to make it simpler or more personalized in terms of titling the course, you can edit the course format. So here I'm showing you a topics format instead of the default topic outline format. And you can definitely edit the content. Again, we have a specific video material regarding editing the course page. Now, if you're a teacher with an access to advanced features, you can definitely do more modifications in your course page. Like for instance, this one, I made this years ago where I implemented a gamified class. So I've added elements like experience points, a level up block, and some grouping features to make things exciting within the course page. So that can definitely be done if you're an advanced user of OVLE. So many potential or possibilities within the site. Yeah, so this is a summary on how to edit the course page. We'll be giving you the material with a clickable link to the video for more details. So just check this if you want to see the procedure. And so this is the generic procedure for editing topic sections. If you would say would like to edit topic one, the start of each procedure will always be clicking turn on editing. So it's a common mistake for beginners to attempt editing a topic without clicking turn on editing. So I always remind that the first step, if you want to edit a topic section, is you click turn on edit. And you will know that you're in edit mode if you see the following icons. So you have your move icon, so you can drag and drop a particular item into a new position. You have a pen icon, so you can easily edit titles, labels, and you have links, so you can add activities and resources. There. So those are the preliminary concepts. What's in the homepage, what's in the course page, what's in the started set. So before we proceed to the specific features of each activity or resource, let's have first a quick Q&A.
Thank you very much, Sir Van, for those introductory notes for our attendees. Sige po, let's begin with some of the questions we've encountered. Okay, number one, Sir Van, this is for access po. For this coming school year, can we create course pages prior to enrollment and then link these pages to actual courses and sections? I think maybe that's eventually.
Yes po. So since the courses are not yet available in our CRS account, just make a request through help desk. Then once it's already available in our CRS account, we can do the linking. So we don't have to repeat the process. Yes po, that's possible.
Yes, thank you, sir, for clarifying that. This one, sir, from Ms. Leslie Diaz. Previously, when a student is delisted from a course, his or her submissions are also deleted or removed, pati yung grades. Is this still the case now? Or is there some way of making these data still available to UVLe, even if there are student deletions?
Deletion meaning they got unenrolled from a class? Yun ba yun?
Yes. Sir Van.
Okay. We have a backup copy. Actually, what happens is if you unenrolled someone, there's a grace period. When you enroll them back, their data will still be recovered. No, but beyond that grace period, you've waited so long to recover the student back to your course. You will lose the data eventually. But definitely, there's a way to restore UVLe data, and teachers can do that. It's just few clicks. So if you want us to teach you that process, please put that in the feedback form so we can include that in the training. So it can be done. Teachers can save a file that contains the data of their students.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you for that, sir. This one, sir, later po, if magkakaroon po kayo ng demo, right? If ever daw po, there's this one request to also enable the other grid and tiles view with progress indicators, maybe for more visual learners. I think this is for ano, sir, para they can be able to see it in action. Let's see if we have time, Sir Jonathan. Thank you for bringing that up. This one, Sir Van. Why doesn't UVLe or Moodle allow blind marking of quizzes or exams? Do we have this feature right now, sir? Blind marking assignments for quizzes.
What do you mean by blind marking? Sorry, hindi ako masyadong familiar.
Maybe we can clarify na lang that. But
blind marking meaning we don't know who submitted?
So I'm gonna hazard a guess, sir, at maybe this is a peer evaluation that would allow, kasi sir, kung blind marking, of course, the teacher would be the one automatically marking, so medyo walang point. I think the spirit of the question was, yes, anonymous marking during peer evaluation. Is this possible, sir?
If it's peer evaluation, we can talk about that later. So there's an advanced feature specifically designed for peer evaluation.
Okay, got it. Sige, sir Van? Yeah, later. Okay, so follow up. When we give an exam, we don't know which students are being marked. It's not peer eval, sir.
Okay. that's a bit difficult po, no, kasi ano po, we don't have that feature currently, no, but we can explore
Yes.
how to implement that if ever.
I see. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you also, Sir Jonathan, for bringing that up. Maybe we can have last two before we can continue. How about this one? Since we're expected to start constructing our course packs now for next sem. Yes. Oh, sorry, sir. Nasagot na po pala to. Yes, ma'am, for Ma'am Lilian, as long as the course po is now available on CRS, pwede na po tayo mag-request ng class or course for that under UVLe. And if you would like to have a mock course for practice, pwede rin po siya, just send it to the help desk. Okay? All right. Tapos, maybe let's have one more. Ayan, sir. In terms of archiving, is it possible to automatically archive classes that have already been concluded, yet still be able to reuse previous assignments despite its archiving? So parang revival of sorts, sir, of an old archive course.
So technically, we don't delete course pages unless they've been dead as in never access, etc. For some time. No, so you can definitely archive in the sense that you can hide it from the students and you're the only one left with the access. So that's possible, and anytime you can activate it. No, so if you check your My Courses link. Courses are classified as active and inactive, so the teacher has a control to make it inactive anytime and activate it anytime.
I see. So the option is still there. Thank you for clarifying that, Sir Van. Okay, we have a lot of questions currently, but we can continue na lang po those questions in the second Q&A break. In the meantime, before you send the question for the attendees, I would like to recommend, the team would like to recommend that you check if there's also a similar question already, so you can upvote that question instead, so we can follow through with unique questions as well. Okay, thank you. We'll be continuing this in the next session. In the meantime, Sir Van will continue with the lecture. Okay, Sir Van, back to you.
Okay. So let's now go to the specific details or procedures and features of each resource and activity that we can do within UVLe. So we'll focus first on the starter set. Now let's put it in the context of building a module. So here I'll be showing a specific way of structuring a module. It's somehow consistent with the recommendations of OAT. So an UVLe course page can be treated as an online classroom where teachers and students can share learning resources, access activities, and interact with each other synchronously or asynchronously. And for that to happen, we have to put in learning modules in our online classroom or course page. And at the same time, we have to include mechanisms like discussion forums to allow interaction among the users. Okay, so let's start with the learning module. How can we use our starter set to build a module? So again, we have the current starter set containing the following tools, and soon we'll be adding 2 more, quiz and Zoom. And if you have suggestions, please put it in the Q&A box. So using this starter set, we can definitely create a learning module. Why? What is the typical content of a learning module, or let's say a course pack? So a learning module typically has a clear topic title and objectives. So I emphasized this in previous sessions that if you're going to provide a learning module to a student for the purpose of independent learning, each learning module should have a specific learning objective so that the student knows what's his or her objective in studying that particular module. No? So in a face-to-face setup, we teachers may not inform our students of the specific objective of the day because we facilitate the learning process. But with remote learning, it's centered around independent learning. So we have to guide our students. We have to be very specific with the instructions, and that's one way to do it. State the specific learning objective of that small module. At the same time, you should provide an overview of content or a study guide, and then we provide learning resources, assessment tools, which can be formative or summative. So how do we do that in UVLe? So I have here a specific example of structuring a module in UVLe. So here I have module 1, lasso regression, in one of my classes. So here you have the module title, objectives. You can upload a file which serves as an introduction or lesson guide, so suggested study plan for the students. And then a sequence of learning resources and assessment tools that the student has to perform for each module. All right, so let's discuss this by parts. So you can definitely edit the title, from topic 1 to module 1 and add additional description. So that's what I did with the first part. Now I added a description so that the students will be able to see the specific objectives of that module. So that can be easily done in UVLe. You just have to click turn on editing. That's always the first step. You have to click that button if you want to edit the topic sections. And there's just an edit link to the right of the topic section title, which will lead you to link edit section, and then after that, type the description and click save. So that's a short procedure on how to add description on your module. So that's the first part. Specify the title, specify the objectives. Next, here in this example, I uploaded some files which serve as a learning material and a study guide to my students. So how do you upload files in UVLe? It's very easy to upload files in UVLe. You just have to click turn on editing, so don't ever forget that. And it's as easy as dragging and dropping the file from the folder to the course page. Now just drag and drop the file, and then wait for it to finish uploading, then done. You have uploaded the file. Ganun lang po kadali. So again, you can do that. Just drag and drop the file to the course page. So long as you're in edit mode, you will be able to successfully embed a file in your course page. Okay, so we're not limited to uploading documents, PDFs, etc. Technically, you can upload any file format. So if you are uploading, let's say, a video, an image, or an audio, same step. You click turn on editing and you drag and drop the file to the topic section. That's the simplest way of uploading the file. But for media files, audio, video file, or images, there's an additional prompt. It will ask you the question, would you like to upload it as a media to a course page or create a file resource? This is automatic. It will prompt you if you upload an audio video file or an image file. So what's the difference between the two options? The difference is the appearance after uploading the file. So if you want the file to be embedded in the course page, just like the one being shown to the left, you want it to be a playable video within the course page, then you choose add media to the course page. But if you want to make the look a bit more or minimize your space that will be occupied in the course page, you can always opt to create file resource. So this means that the file will appear as a clickable file resource. So if they want to watch this video, 01 video motivation, you have to click it first. A new window will open where they can play the video, and sometimes they can download, save the video. It works the same for images and podcasts. So that's how that's the process of uploading files. Very easy. Click turn on editing, then drag and drop the file from the folder to your course page. Afterwards, you can rename them, you can rearrange them within the course page. So some tips and considerations. So in the context of remote learning, we should always think about flexibility and how our students will be able to adopt with this new format. And one way of allowing flexibility is for us to consider designing and uploading learning resources of different file formats. So Certon in the morning session already mentioned that there are low bandwidth resources and high bandwidth resources. So similarly in UVLe, you can upload any type of resource, low bandwidth or high bandwidth. So the tip is try to put some variety in the file format so that if the student has a relatively weak internet, they can always opt for the low bandwidth version. Okay, this was mentioned already in the Q&A box, so just to clarify things regarding the upload limit. The site upload limit is 50 MB per file. It's not for the entire course page. No, it's not 50 MB for the entire course page. That's very small. But there's no limit to the total storage space per course page. And that's our current policy. No, so far, we are able to serve our constituents without setting a storage limit per course page. No, but each file should be less than 50, at most 50 MB per MB in size. No? The reason here is we want to encourage teachers to keep their files manageable for downloading. No, but we do recognize that there are certain disciplines and classes that will require files that are larger than 50 MB. And for those cases, no, these are not the general case for most teachers. No, they may request for a higher upload limit via ILC Diliman help desk. And this 50 MB limit, we can still review and recalibrate it once we already upgraded our infrastructure. So currently that's the rule, but we can definitely improve this, make it more convenient for everyone once we've got the upgrades already. No? At the end of the day, the point here is we strongly discourage teachers to upload large files because we are concerned that students may have difficulties downloading or streaming the material. And so our magic number is 50 MB. For some universities, it's 100 MB. Yeah, so that's their per file limit. So how do we manage our files such that they are download friendly or stream friendly? So I have a few suggestions here. One, consider uploading several short videos instead of a single long video for each module. So instead of uploading a single 1 hour video, maybe you can chunk it into 10 to 15 minutes, very specific instructional video. In this way, students with an average internet access have better chance of successfully downloading several short videos by downloading them one at a time. So as opposed to making them download one large video. So as you know, excuse me. Okay. Excuse me po. Yeah. Excuse me po. Yeah. Yeah. So as you know, if your internet connection got interrupted in the middle of downloading a large file, you have to repeat the process of downloading the entire file again because the fragmented file won't work. So that's a big disadvantage. So if possible, we can consider uploading several short materials instead of one long, large file. So this example is specific to my experience. So I've tried uploading a long video before, about 60 minutes. It's just, it doesn't have much colors, but it is rendered at the high resolution, relatively high resolution 180p. It's around 160 MB. While I also tried structuring a course with several short videos, and each video can be created or the file of each short video is just about 40 MB. So it is possible to upload lecture videos that is short and less than 50 MB. So we can definitely do that. So if we can do that, it will definitely help our students because it's more manageable. Not only, and doing this strategy is not only manageable in terms of downloading, it is also good for our students because shorter, smaller, specific tasks is relatively more encouraging and less intimidating and dragging. And that's very important because, again, it's independent learning. We are not always there to cheer them up, to support them. So we have to ensure that the materials we're giving to them are digestible, or something that will not intimidate them. So based on experience, my personal experience, learners tend to have better focus when they're doing a very specific task that is short or smaller. At the same time, they tend to have better sense of accomplishment because it's easy to finish a small task compared to finishing a large task. The tendency is they may not continue at the middle of doing a large task. So at the end of the day, the chance of being successfully completing the task is lower. So that's really something to consider. And of course, last tip regarding files, if you're really going to go with videos, considering rendering videos at relatively lower resolutions, because if most of our students will be accessing the video through their phones, we don't really have to have a high definition video for most of the disciplines hindi kailangan. So about 720p or 480p is generally okay and manageable for our students. And some of the faculty members also suggested that if you can, try uploading podcasts instead of videos because in general the audio files is more manageable. All right, so those are the tips for the files. Again, it's easy to upload a file. Just drag and drop it to the course page. All right. Next one is, can we share web pages or YouTube videos in our course page? Yes, no, you can definitely link materials. If you're using a web application, you can link your web application to your class. If your department has a different as a subscription to a particular cloud service, you can link that cloud service to your course page using the URL resource. Okay, so just a reminder, as mentioned by Sir Ton in the morning session, we don't have to create all of our learning materials from scratch. We can always curate these learning materials. So if you found several educational web pages or OERs or YouTube videos that you can use in your class, you can share them or link them to your course page using the URL resource. And the process of creating the URL resource is relatively simple. You just have to follow the steps. So click turn on editing, click add an activity or resource, choose URL, and set up the resource. And it doesn't require so many things. You just have to name the resource, enter the URL. If it's a YouTube video, for this example, just copy and paste the URL of the YouTube video. You may add description and save it. After that, you will be able to share the file. There. So URL resource if you have to share a link or a website, etc. Since we're talking about sharing YouTube videos, you may want to consider opening a YouTube channel either as an individual or as a department. Why? Because personally, I think YouTube makes videos more accessible with respect to one, student's budget. So if we're talking about the current packages of telco companies, telcos have relatively cheap packages for YouTube, like 99 pesos for 1 week, that's 2 gigabytes for general internet surfing, and 1 gigabyte per day for YouTube and other video streaming sites. So if they will be able to use this or only for YouTube, then technically they can have up to 7 gigabytes per week, 1 gigabyte per day. And so if the faculty is comfortable with that setup, they may really consider uploading their video materials in YouTube. And more than that, in addition, YouTube allows users to play a video at a lower resolution, which allows a student to play videos at a manageable bandwidth. In short, the student can manage to play it at a resolution that is manageable for his or her internet quality or internet access. And so this is a tip. Within OVCAA, there are a lot of question mark icons, which you may click to know more details about a particular feature or a particular setting. So if you see that question mark, just click it so that you'll have more information about a particular setting. Okay, there. So those are the basic resources, options for the basic resources. So let's have a quick Q&A before we move to the activities.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Van. Okay, we're starting our second round of questions and answers. We're really happy that we're receiving all of these questions currently. This really helps us fine-tune our discussions as well as help others who have advanced plans in using their OVCAA. Okay, here's one, Sir Van. Is it possible to upload files for viewing only and not for downloading in OVCAA?
We don't have that option yet, but we can try exploring how we can implement that in OVCAA. But currently, no, because the reason behind sharing the files for them to be able to access it. So if it's let's say an answer to a particular solution and you want to restrict access to it, what we can offer is just condition-based restriction, but they may still be able to download it. We can explore po. Just to add po, before we proceed to the next question, regarding the previous question about blind marking, someone mentioned that it is allowed in OVCAA. So there's a particular setting under grading that allows blind marking. So I haven't tried that before, so that's why I don't know it, pero possible po pala si blind marking.
All right. Thank you, Sir Van, also for the blind marking question. Sir, I think pwede ko rin recommend, no, if it's grades or answer keys, maybe what we can do is upload it in a different provider, like maybe Google Docs. Tapos just change the link access every other sem, so it can't be accessed moving forward, or maybe just replace the links para even if it's only viewable for a time, pwede rin pong ma-restrict yung access. Okay. How about this one, sir? This is a quality of life question for UVLe. Is there already a feature where the teacher can unenroll students as a group? Because Ma'am Florenda Gabriel has been unenrolling students one by one. Is there a group unenroll feature, Sir Van?
I have to check with the programmers. Pwede ba yun, Tan?
Okay, let's ask the programmers. Okay, it's allowed daw po, Sir Van, using drum roll.
Cohort?
But yes, self-enrollment. Self-enrollment.
Okay po. So they said that it is allowed, no? So probably the specific procedure on how to do that, we can create po siguro a manual or an article about that. So so Tristan said that it is possible if the students are grouped.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Sir Van. How about this one, sir, about using previous items, no? Kasi some classes are archived, yung mga na-conclude na. Can we still reuse those previous assignments even if it's already archived?
Yes po, there's a way to revive activities. As mentioned, you can save a copy of the data of your course page. You can also save the data of a specific activity and then revive that in a new course page. That can be done.
Speaking
Yes,
pala, Sir Van, of saving, there's another similar question. Can we download the course we made in the format of UVLe? As in, it's like, maybe it's an offline web page version, maybe an HTML version, wherein so we can distribute it to students without internet connection via USB. Is this an option in UVLe?
Currently po, that's not possible. No, you can't download it as a web application. You will be able to download a zip file, and it's a very crude file. No, it just contains the data that when you put it back to a particular UVLe course page, it will revive the contents of the file. It doesn't work like when you download it, it becomes a standalone application. However, if the students is using Moodle Mobile, they can Moodle Mobile, the application can access UVLe, and it has an offline feature, meaning once they've downloaded the file, they can access it offline. No, but there's a limitation. No, they can only use the offline feature 2 courses at a time. So if they can budget it, so they can work on their phones offline 2 courses at a time.
Okay, sige. Thank you for that, sir. Maybe we can have last 2 na lang. How about this one? Okay. Sir, virtual laboratory. Nawala siya. Never mind. Here's na lang. Okay, sir. So, sir, in terms of accessing modules, is there a feature where the student can access the next module if he or she has completed the requirements for the previous module? Kumbaga, locked po. Parang landlocked ang course 1 to course 2. Kailangan muna ma-complete ang course 1 before proceeding. Is it possible, sir, Nivle?
Yes po, there, when you click edit beside the topic section, under edit settings, there's a group called restriction settings. So under restriction settings, you can restrict in terms of conditions. So kunyari, they can access this module if the quiz in the previous module is below 60%. That can be done po.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So meron parang barrier na 60%, sir, before the next module can be accessed.
Yes, and you can create complex rules. No, let's say it can only be accessed after this date, when they complete this activity, when they click this file, etc. That can be done po.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Sir Van. Sige, in the meantime, ano po muna tayo? We'll continue with Sir Van's lecture, and then we're gonna have another Q&A break later to answer the rest of the questions. Thank you very much for your questions. And Sir Van, back to you.
All right. So our previous discussion is about files and resources. The next one will focus on activities in the starter set. Okay. So What are the activities that we can implement in the starter set? In terms of assessment of learning online, one possible activity that we can provide is the assignment activity. Okay, so it's the simplest activity that we can use for assessment. So these are the basic features of the assignment activity: online submission of files, setting up of deadlines, online grading, various options for feedback. Again, I would like to highlight that these are the basic features. If you upgrade to full teacher features, you can access more features related to assignments like group assignments and condition-based assignments, etc. So there are advanced tools for assignments. So let's just focus first on the basic features. Okay, so to set up an assignment, it follows the same pattern on, it's just like setting up a URL resource. You have to click turn on editing, click on an activity or resource, choose assignment, set up the assignment. That pattern remains true with other activities and resources, except for uploading the file, because uploading a file, simply drag and drop the file. Okay, for others, this is the process. Okay, and you simply have to set up the assignment. Right, so important reminders when setting up an assignment. So as mentioned, one of the features of OVCAA is that it allows you to set up a deadline. Now, OVCAA allows you to set up two types of dates. We have the due date and the cutoff date. Due date serves as the official deadline of the assignment. Now, it allows users to submit outputs after, OVCAA allows users to submit output after the due date, but it will be marked late. Okay, and the due date is the basis for email notifications and at the same time the upcoming events block. Okay, on the other hand, cutoff date is the strict deadline. No, it is the last day that the users can submit a file. So I have a small visualization at the bottom part of the slide. No, so until the due date, students can submit and will be marked submitted on time. After the due date, until the cutoff date, students will be allowed to submit, but the submission will be marked late. After the cutoff date, they will no longer see the option to submit an output or submit a response. Okay, so in the previous sessions, there were questions can we set the same due date and cutoff date? Yes, the only restriction is you cannot set the cutoff date before the due date. If you accidentally set it up that way, OVCAA will prompt an error. It will not allow you to continue setting up the dates. In terms of submission types, currently we have two active submission types: online text. This will require students to type their answers in a text editor, so which means they have to work online and type their response to the assignment in a text box. And then we have file submission. So they will submit a file or a number of files as an output for the submission. And again, the file size limit is up to 50 MB. And if you need a higher upload limit, you can always request a higher upload limit via help desk. Let's say it's a video requirement, usually it's more than 50 MB. You can always coordinate it with the IELTS Diliman team so that we can allocate you a higher upload limit. Feedback and grading assignments. So I will only discuss two ways. There are different ways of doing things in OVCAA, and I think these are the two simple options regarding grading and giving feedback to assignments. One is offline, offline mode, meaning teachers will download all the submissions and then they will evaluate submissions offline. Then they may go back online to simply encode the grades. Second option is that teachers may do everything online. So they will view the submission of the students in a special window. At the same time, it allows them to give feedback online and encode the grade online. So let's start with option one. This is the summary of the procedures for option one. So for option one, the first step is to download all submissions. So this is the summary of the procedures. You just have to click the assignment activity. There's a link there, view all submissions, and then there's an option to download all submissions, and you will be able to download all files in a zip folder, and each student will have a single folder. So if it's a homework requiring multiple files, those files will be grouped in a folder. One student, one folder. The folders will be annotated by the name of the student by default. And then you can work offline, review the submissions of the students, and afterwards you can encode their grades through the quick grading option. So you just have to go back to the assignment activity, click view all submissions. There will be a column for grades, and there will be a text box where you can input the grade of the students. And as you can also see here in this slide, UVLe is very specific with the timestamp of the submission and regarding the status of submission. Like for this one, Isko Matalino submitted 1 minute, 18 seconds after the due date. So he's late. There you go. That's option one. Download everything, work offline, and code the grades. Option two, you do everything online. So for option two, this is the procedure. You click the assignment activity, but instead of viewing all submissions, you click grade, and it will open a window that looks like this. Now, it's an online assignment viewer that will allow you to comment, annotate submitted files online. Now, you can also use this to view outputs one at a time. You can view this to grade your students one at a time, provide feedback one at a time as well. So here, let's examine the different features of this online assignment viewer. So at the upper right corner of the viewer, you'll see there a drop-down list box where you can choose a specific student that you want to assess or review the submission. Then below, you can access the file. So there's sample file attachment. If you click that file, you will be able to download the file. Now, if you observe, there's a number here. There's 100% beside the file name. That's a similarity index. If you activated the CROT feature of UVLe, it's a simple anti-plagiarism tool available currently. The plagiarism tool, CROT, can compare submissions or files within the UVLe database only. Now, since this is the free version, it can only compare files, text files, PDF files within the system. So at least it can compare submissions of students, student to student, if all of their submissions were made to UVLe. And regarding future plans, regarding anti-plagiarism tool, if the university will be subscribing to, let's say, Turnitin, we can integrate it with UVLe. That's the only condition. The subscription has to come first before we can integrate it in the site, but it is possible. Next, the feature can convert files into PDF. So if it's a file format that is readable when converted to PDF, you can view it online and you can annotate it, put some comments on it, etc. So you can do the reviewing process online. So you have an option to add a comment, select delete an annotation, highlight certain parts, add stumps, check X, smiley, sad face, etc. You can definitely do that online through these features. Then there's a text box where you will input grade. Below that text box, you have an option for feedback comments and feedback files. So with these features for feedback, you have two options or multiple ways of giving your feedback. So feedback comments, text box only, just type your feedback there. Or feedback files, you upload the file that will serve as a feedback. So if you want to be creative, more personal, human feel in terms of giving your feedback, you can provide or upload an audio-video feedback or a podcast as feedback. So that can be done in UVLe through this feature. We have other ways of uploading feedback. We can discuss that if you ask it in the Q&A option, advanced features for feedback. And the student will be able to see the grades and feedback after clicking save. Otherwise, it will just be saved as draft. Okay, and again, as you can see, there's an option to send an email notification after providing the feedback. So this is the student view. No? So for this example, no? So this is what the students see once the feedback is already available for viewing. The student will see this feedback available. When the student click this, they will be able to see this table. Now, their grade, when it was graded, your feedback comments, or the annotated PDF, whichever type of feedback you provided to your students. And tips for students, as mentioned, there's a block in the basic course template called activities block, and it has a feature that allows students to download all downloadable resources at once. So let's say you have students who have only one day within the month, who can only dedicate one day to go online for the entire semester, then they can do this. No? Just download all of the downloadable resources to this activities block. Okay, so assignment is the simplest way for the assessment. It's the simplest tool that we can use for assessment. We'll talk about other advanced tools for assessment later. But for now, let me present to you the basic tools that will allow interaction among students or student-to-teacher interaction. So as mentioned, an online classroom will not be completed without discussion forums or mechanisms for interaction. It can't be purely learning modules, otherwise there's no opportunity for support from other students or support from the teacher. Right, so the first basic activity that we can conduct is the choice activity. It allows us to conduct one question polls. So let's say a quick poll after 1 week, or after the first week of the semester, you may conduct a quick poll to check how they are doing with regards to remote learning. You can definitely do that in UVLe. So this is the summary of the procedure. Again, it has the same pattern: turn on editing, add an activity or resource, choose choice, and then afterwards set up the choice activity. There. So as teachers, we have access to the responses of the students, and the results may be downloaded in Excel format. So again, this is one question poll. So how are you doing? I'm not doing well, just okay. I have problems. Excuse me. Yeah, so that's one way of interacting or getting feedback from your students. No, you implement a poll. The other one is you construct online forums. So online forums let teachers create discussion forums for inquiries, online consultation. It can be used for reflection activities and even online recitation. It is an activity for asynchronous discussions. Okay, so how do you create a forum activity? Same procedure. You start with turn on editing, add an activity or resource, and then choose forum, set up the forum. There. Again, we have specific instructional video materials about polls and forums, how to construct them. We have video instructions about this material. So first tip, you may want to dedicate a space specific for virtual interaction. So what I usually do for my classes is I have one tab or one section in my course page that is just about polls and forums, so that they know where to go if they want to use the forums or polls. And usually I create regular polls to check on my students, how they are doing. And at the very minimum, I have the need help forum where the students can interact with each other, help each other, share their concerns, questions, etc. Yeah, so again, it is advisable that we set up a general forum where the students can interact with each other, at the same time where the teachers can intervene or share, help the students regarding his or her concern. Okay, so if you want to create a general forum, you should choose standard forum for general use as a forum type. And then just take note that there are different subscription modes within UVLe. So the announcements forum, we require our users to be subscribed to it so that they always receive notifications. But for open forums or general forums, in general, the best subscription mode is optional subscription, and that's the default subscription mode, meaning the student may or may not subscribe to a particular discussion topic. No, that is to avoid unnecessary flooding of email notifications, because some discussions may not be relevant to all of your students, learners, or even to your co-teachers within the course. There. So it's important to set up a general forum, and some tips regarding the general forum. You should set house rules. No, in the same manner that you set house rules within your class, you should set house rules on how to use a general purpose forum. You don't want them to simply to use it for anything. You know, you have to discuss to them the objective of that forum. And one of my strategies to make it efficient is that I suggest a title format so students can easily search discussion topics. Yeah. And here, no, it's commonly unseen because it's small. No, we'll try to improve this, but there's an icon, a small envelope icon or a small dot, which they can click, to subscribe to a particular discussion topic. And if they subscribe to it, they will receive email notifications. So that's a general forum. Now, what's nice thing about Moodle and UVLe is that you're not limited to a general purpose forum or an announcements forum. There are specialized forums for certain types of activities, like the Q&A forum. So I usually use the Q&A forum to simulate a recitation activity online. So what are the rules of a Q&A forum? One, only the teacher can pose a discussion, which serves as the question. 2, students can reply their answers. 3, students will not be able to see the responses of their classmates until they posted their own response. And then there's a 30-minute grace period wherein the student can still edit their posts, but during that grace period, they will still not be able to access the response of their classmates. So the concept of this forum is that it encourages individual thinking, but at the same time, it encourages peer-to-peer learning, because eventually the students will be able to see the responses of his or her classmates. So it's a good way to get feedback from your students, and at the same time, allow your students to learn from each other. I've used this in programming class. So I asked them to submit their codes through a Q&A forum. And eventually the students will be able to see the codes of the relatively better programmers, and they get an idea on how to improve their own work. So I have an example here. So for example, I posted a question and Isko Matalino is the first one who responded. Then a few minutes after Iska Matapang saw the question, she will not be able to see Isko's answer because she hasn't posted her answer. And then she decided to post her answer. She cannot immediately see the response of Isko because there's a 30-minute grace period. She can still edit her answer. And while she can still edit her answer, she cannot see any other responses. After 30 minutes, she will be able to see the responses of her classmates. So that's the concept of the Q&A forum. There. Forums, by the way, can be graded. No, you can grade the individual responses. You have that option. But in general, no, for my case, I usually just use this to get a general feel of what they know about the topic. It's not really a heavy requirement that I usually grade. But it depends. You may be able to use this as a formal assessment tool. And lastly, I got this from an online course called Humanized Online Learning. They advise that you have some activities that will allow each student to present themselves or create something. So one of those activities is getting to know you activity via forums. So you just open a discussion topic, and if you want to be more relevant to the Gen Zs, you may ask your students to share a selfie or a TikTok video with a short personal introduction to start, the SEM. So that the students still have a sense of having classmates. You know, even if it's primarily independent learning, they know that they have other classmates to talk to get support from, etc. So it's a good idea for GE classes because usually students in GE courses came from different colleges. It's also good for freshman courses so that freshmen have the opportunity to know their classmates, their batchmates. And at the same time, of course, it's much better if the teacher will also participate so that they know that they have an approachable teacher and that they're not simply talking to a robotic OVCAA page, but there's actually a human behind the page. So that's the background with this activity. Simple ideas that you can use. Okay, so before we proceed to the advanced features or the upcoming updates, let's first have a quick Q&A.
And thank you very much, Sir Van. All right, keep those questions coming. We'll try to answer as many as we can. Here's one, sir, about our upcoming question bank feature. Is it possible, Sir Van, to let UVLe compile a set of questions randomly? For example, problem sets with same difficulty level so that each student will get a unique set of questions.
Yes, well, it's possible. No, that's the next slide, actually. It's part of the features of the quiz activity. You can randomize, you can create random quizzes, you can shuffle questions, etc.
All right, thank you, Sir Van. Let's just have one more po kasi Sir Van would also like to show us the advanced tools of UVLe for everyone's perusal because there have been a lot of questions asking about those. How about this one? Virtual laboratory providers for licensing commonly link their materials with LMS such as Google Classroom. Is UVLe open to link up with other providers? And maybe, sir, maybe pwede na natin sagutin, ano po yung advantage ng UVLe over the other virtual providers since marami pong na-endorse na iba-ibang different virtual classrooms?
All right. Virtual laboratory yung first part, right?
Yes po. Pwede po ba i-link up?
Okay. Yes po, we've actually seen plugins available for certain subscriptions. So one of our programmers have seen one already that can be integrated with UVLe. So it's possible. There are available laboratory simulation applications that can be integrated with Moodle or UVLe. And then regarding the advantage, as mentioned in the previous session, I think the main advantage of UVLe currently is that we've learned already from our experience and feedback with the faculty. We already have integration with the CRS. There are specific features or customizations that we've made already for UP Diliman. That's the main advantage, and we still keep the advanced features available for advanced users because we believe that we should open those tools for innovative features. And at the same time, yung concept na starter set, it is something that we designed because of the feedback that we get from the teachers. So it's very we've customized it already for UP Diliman, and there's a lineup of upgrades pa that we can offer for our users po.
Thank you. Sige.
In general po kasi the third party LMS will also have the basic set of tools, assignments, quizzes, etc. So we also have that. So it's just that we've customized certain features already for UP Diliman.
Okay, thank you, Sir Van. That's for this set of questions muna, but I'm sure our attendees are excited now with the advanced features, so I'm going to leave it to you now, sir. All right, take it away, Sir Van.
All right, so I'm now at the last part of my presentation. So now we will discuss other exciting tools. So I've mentioned tools belonging in the current starter set. So this time I'll discuss what are the upcoming updates and what other advanced tools that may be useful for e-learning. And if you think you need a training for these advanced tools, please put that in your feedback by the end of this webinar. So we will be using your feedback in the design of the trainings that we'll be providing. Okay, so first, quiz activity. So we'll be moving the quiz activity to the starter set because we see that it will be a common tool. There should be some variety of option in terms of assessment. So another choice, besides the assignment, should be the quiz activity. In general, online quizzes are more complicated to set up because it requires some experience in terms of administration. The teacher has to be very familiar with the security features, how to troubleshoot if the students suddenly get disconnected, etc. So it's a bit complicated, but it's doable. So if you're going to implement a quiz activity for your class, my suggestion is you collaborate with other teachers to help you with the administration of the quiz. So what are the features? Okay, so the basic or the features of the quiz activity includes basic question types. So we have multiple choice, short answer identification, short answer numeric, true or false, essay, etc. We also have advanced question types like combined question types, a single question with multiple question types embedded in it. Let's say it's a paragraph. There are several blanks that they have to answer. There are calculated questions, say, that randomizes, let's say, the constants and the variables that they have to solve. And so it will generate different versions of that templated calculated question. There's also a music question theory type and some visual type questions like mapping, etc. So you're allowed to set time limit, availability, date start, date end. You can set navigation restriction. Let's say they cannot go back to the previous question. They have to answer it one at a time. You can do that. Randomized quizzes, definitely. Shuffling of questions, randomized order of choices. You can definitely do that as well. Automated checking of simple questions, except for the essay question type that's available. Features allow right minus wrong grading. If you find it appropriate for your assessment tool, you can definitely apply that. Option to control the number of items per page. You may allow multiple attempts depending on the objective of the assessment. You can apply password restriction, even other types of restriction. And UVLe has an option to require the Safe Exam browser. If you're not familiar with it, it's an open source browser designed for online assessment. So if you check require Safe Exam browser, the student will not be able to answer the quiz if UVLe is not open in a Safe Exam browser. So the Safe Exam browser covers the entire screen. They cannot shift to a different tab, shift to a different window until they complete the exam. It also prevents copy pasting, etc. Okay, so there. The only disadvantage is you will require your students to install Safe Exam browser in their desktop, and we're not aware if there's an equivalent mobile application for it. So yun lang, you have to require them to use a desktop or a laptop, and they have to install the software and many more. But some successful cases. So recently, we were able to help College of Music with their music theory placement exam. About 200 plus applicants simultaneously answered an online quiz. And what's special about their exam is that it's a listening exam. So they have to play a music and then there's a follow-up question. So we were able to implement that in UVLe. You can be creative with your quiz activity. You can embed audio, videos, or images related to the question, just to make it less to add some flavor to your quiz activity, to make it more interesting. You can definitely do that. And since this is the science cluster, many of you will probably use equations. We have an equation editor tool. So recently we were able to do a validation exam in school statistics, and we were able to implement questions with math equations or symbols, and the equation editor recognizes LaTeX codes. I do know that many in the science cluster are using LaTeX in typing their equations. It can be used in UVLe. And what's special about this implementation is that we were able to do e-proctoring via Zoom. So there are about one proctor for every 20 to 30 participants. And currently, ILC Diliman is also developing an e-proctoring tool wherein we are attempting that there's an option for you to require webcam when the student is attempting a quiz, so that a video is being recorded while they are taking the quiz. So you can see what's around them. Are they really the one checking, doing the quiz, etc. But currently that feature is a work in progress. So we're hoping that we'll be able to deploy it very soon. Yeah, this is the equation editor, so it can be done. Bonus feature, no, this is a result of a feedback from one of the departments we've trained. No, they suggested, is there a feature that will allow us to print the quiz activity we've generated using UVLe? No, before we don't have this feature, and now we've created a specialized feature for it. There's now a button to print preview quiz. It will generate a PDF file, and you can print a hard copy of your quiz. So if you have students who will do offline remote learning, you can easily convert your quizzes into a hard copy printed quiz, a questionnaire. And we have the question bank feature that will allow you to organize your questions by topic, by type of question, and by difficulty level. It depends on your strategy. And if you have the question bank, a well-organized question bank, you can easily implement randomized quizzes. So meaning the quiz activity will pick up a certain number of questions from the category under the question bank, and every time that the student answers the questions, he may get a different set of questions because it's randomized. So it can be done. So in fact, UVLe has a very comprehensive tool for quizzes. And as mentioned, beside from the quiz activity, we'll be moving the Zoom activity to the starter set. This means that teachers will soon be allowed to schedule and create Zoom meetings within UVLe. So now you have an option for synchronous interaction with your students. The only requirement is that you set your primary email address as, you set your UP mail as your primary email address in your profile, because our Zoom accounts are connected to our UP mail accounts. So that's the advantage of using UP mail as primary email. You get the notifications, or the notifications will be sent to your UP mail at the same time. You will be able to optimize the Zoom activity that we've integrated in UVLe. Okay, speaking of other advanced tools, we have groups and groupings. I know that several classes in the science cluster is in the format of a large class with small breakout sessions. So you can definitely have group restrictions or group-wise activities through the groups and groupings tools. Currently, it's under the advanced tools, meaning you have to upgrade your role to get access to these things. So multiple ways of grouping is allowed. It can be applied to classes with breakout sessions, etc. I don't know if this is relevant for the science cluster, but it might be useful as well. No, there's a peer evaluation system activity in UVLe. It's called the workshop activity. It allows teachers to collect submissions and then redistribute submissions for peer evaluation, set up rubrics, guide your students on how to peer rate, and then the activity will result to two types of grades: grade from peer evaluators and grade as a peer evaluator. So the activity has a metric that computes how well or how good is a particular student as an evaluator. And the basis of that is agreement with the majority of the peer evaluator. So if the student is an outlying rater, he will get a low score in the grade as a peer evaluator. And peer evaluators can be assigned randomly or by the teacher. So if you have a large class, you can set it up in such a way that each student will have one teacher, let's say a teaching assistant reviewing, and then the other four are student peer evaluators. It can be done. It can be randomized. You can set up group restriction. It's all possible. This is a preview of the workshop activity. No, it's an advanced tool because it has phases, and within each phase, there's a different type of administrative requirement. So this is best done if you are working in collaboration with your colleagues, no? So that one will focus on submission phase and redistributing the submission. The other one will focus on rubrics, ensuring that everyone is doing assessment properly, and then the other one could be focusing on the grades that the student got, etc. So there's a peer evaluation system within UVLe. And lastly, this is my favorite advanced tool, games and gamifications. There are a lot of tools that could make your course page a bit more motivating, interesting. For example, you can include a level up block to gamify the course page. So when we say we gamify something, we include game elements like experience points, leveling up. There's a challenge, a goal, and a reward. So I implemented that in one of my classes before. So every time that they accomplish something within the site, they get experience points and they level up when they reach particular thresholds. And this is one of my ways of determining who among my students or learners are less engaged or least engaged with the online page. And also, if you are bored with the typical quizzes, there's an option to create game format quizzes, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game instead of a multiple choice question. If you have several identification questions, the UVLe can generate a crossword puzzle for you. And everything, all of these tools are possible. Now, there are simple games that can be easily implemented. So if you know how to create a quiz, it's easy to create a game. And there are other features I've not mentioned. And to end this presentation, some thoughts for everyone. There's so much to learn and too many roles to play. We have to be a teacher, a content creator, video editor, technical support, system administrator. It seems that remote learning requires so much from us. But for me, we don't necessarily have to be everything. It's important to know that there are so many roles to play. But these tasks could be lighter for us if we consider collaboration with peers. So UVLe support collaborative administration of courses. We have co-teacher role, we have non-editing teacher role. If you want some students to help you with the course administration, we have super student role. We also have teaching assistant role. And you may also consider a team teaching that is by role, meaning you're team teaching a course because you have different expertise in terms of implementing an online strategy. So let's say one is an expert on creating online quizzes, one is an expert on managing forums and assignment, and the other one is the main lead on instructional design or content. So that's a different way of building teams. Usually kasi if the team taught, they are team teaching because they're experts of different topics. But since now we're required to play so many roles, if you want to lessen the burden on yourself, you may want to collaborate with faculty members who have the different technical skills, complementary technical skills. So yeah, collaboration is very important during these times. Let's help each other, make it easier for us. And again, we have instructional videos in YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to see updates. We'll be updating our instructional videos. I think they've been sharing in the chat the links to the videos. And ILC Diliman will be offering an online course about sometime July or early August. And we'll be needing your feedback today so we can design a relevant online course for everyone. And then with that, I end my presentation and we'll proceed to the final round of question and answer.
All right. Okay, let's have another last round, sir. Medyo nagpa-pile up na po sila. Very excited. Apparently, our attendees are very excited to use the UVLe for the upcoming semester for the new normal. Okay. Yeah, I also would like to also remind everyone to please answer the webinar feedback link. It's posted in the chat box so we can also improve our services and get to serve and support you better in the upcoming months. Okay. So this has been a recurring question, rather. It's about IPR restrictions or intellectual property. So could we have a summary or maybe quick points on the IPR restrictions of UVLe? For example, can copyrighted materials like books, ebooks, documentaries, videos, etc. be uploaded in the site without any restriction?
So currently, we don't really have an automated rule that will ban you if it's copyrighted or not. So any type of file can be uploaded technically, but we shouldn't be doing it. So definitely, in short, pwede kang mapulis or mahuli if you do that. I'm honestly not familiar with the IPR rules. Someone else might be more knowledgeable with that. but we don't have an automated parang restriction set up for that as of the moment. We can provide a guide at the very least on the things that you should or you should not do with your course page.
Okay, thank you, Sir Van. Sir Van, this is naman about, since it's about, we have a lot of issues about connections, especially coming from the student side. So is there a flag if a student has not received the assignment? Pang-validate.
Okay, what we can see is there's a detailed data about the logs of the student. So you can, if you're, if you would, you can definitely access that as a teacher. There's a way of accessing that. So you can verify when's the last time the student visited your course page. In terms of assignment, we can, there are available features that will let you know if he or she has ever clicked the assignment. That's the best thing, that's the best indicator we can provide. So if she or if the student has never clicked that assignment, that's your indicator that he may not be aware of the assignment. So there are those parameters. You also have the progress bar feature. So if you think those features will help, please put it in the feedback.
All right. Okay. Thank you, sir, for that clarification. Sir, and some of the students though prefer using other accounts outside of UP in terms of email accounts, sir. Does UVLe allow external emails upon enrollment? Pwede ba yun, sir? Ma-enroll sila?
Technically, they can put any email in their profiles, but their username and password will still be the Diliman. It can be done. The only implication is they will receive their notifications in the email they specified in their profile. No, that's possible, but it's not advisable, especially if you're going to use Zoom activity, because our Zoom account is attached to our UP Mail.
I see.
And we're going to that direction as well of using UP Mail.
Better integration as well for future partnerships, definitely, sir. No, kasi
yes, and I think we should really encourage our students to use their UP Mail, because the UP Mail has an access to Google Drive with the large storage.
Also Office,
and Office, yes. So yeah, we should be encouraging them to use the UP Mail.
Okay. All right. Sir, medyo muffled daw po kayo. May something daw po sa mic. Okay, wait. Tatanga kayo.
All right.
Ayan. Okay na, sir. All right. How about this one, sir? Yung. Better na, sir. Okay. Sir, ito po for this one. Is there an updated UVLe mobile app for iOS users, for Apple users in the house? Android 4.
Okay. Yeah. So we've recently launched an updated application for the Android. It's because our staff doesn't have access to iOS device. That's the reason why there's a delay. But we will soon have it available for iOS since GCQ na. So they're able to borrow iOS device now.
Okay, thank you very much for this,
yes,
sir, for clarification. Sir, about this one, in terms of confidentiality, what is the degree of confidentiality when students post their comments in the forum discussions? Can this be a la pseudonym, maybe, so they won't feel na...
Okay. So the forum type included in the starter set. Hello, is my audio okay?
Sige nga, sir. Did you give it a whirl?
Mic test.
Ayan, I think it's okay na, sir. Yeah, that way.
All right. The current feature or the current forum type does not allow anonymous posting. But if you upgrade to the advanced teacher role or full teacher set, we have the advanced forum which allows you to do that. So students will be allowed to post anonymously, although technically it's not anonymous to the teacher, but it can be anonymous to the student. You just have to be silent that you can trace back who that student is. No? Kasi we have that experience na we mentioned this feature to faculty, but she also told to her students that I can actually know who you are. So it misses the point. So yun po. There is an available feature for that, but not including the starter set.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir, for clarifying this. Sir, this one po about naman sa grace period, since we're all aware that some of the deadlines have been moved for up to May 2021 as per the guidelines. So will the courses be deleted if ever nag-extend po tayo dun sa classes na yon na may requirements pa po?
Right. So again, we don't delete courses so long as there's an activity, and we have a very long grace period before deletion, like 5 years. So hindi po pa mawawala yon because May 2021 is the deadline, right? So it's just 1 year. It won't be deleted yet.
Okay, if maybe the student po ay gusto mag-extend hanggang 2026, no? Tsaka para po ma-delete yung kanyang page. Okay, thank you for that, sir. Sir, about quizzes din po ito. For example, if we post a G-quiz link as a quiz activity and we set the quiz activity for 20 minutes, will the UVLe timer cut off the G-quiz availability too? Hindi, sir, no? Kasi it's third party.
G-quiz, it's a Google quiz?
Yes, sir. I think it's maybe it's embedded from a Google Classroom page and it's shared within the UVLe classroom.
The only way you can share Google Quiz to your page is through URL resource. If you want to restrict its availability, there's a restriction option on the date start and the date end. But if the student is smart enough to save the URL of the quiz activity or the Google quiz, then they will still be able to access it anytime if the Google form is open. Yun po. It's possible, but you have to consider some things to ensure that it will not be accessed outside the time that you want it to be available.
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying that, sir. Sir, there's another question in terms of support. Sir, dun po sa ating document files that are submitted for essays, for example, are they limited to .doc or .docx file only? Are there other document formats that we can use?
There's no limit in terms of file format, but you can limit a specific file format. So wala pong limit talaga in terms of file format. But if it's say you prefer just PDF, you can limit it to PDF. There's an option for that. In terms of file format, there are just some file formats that you will not be able to view in the online viewer because they are difficult to convert to PDF. That's the only disadvantage. But students will still be allowed to submit that file. You can still allow to accept those types of files.
Okay. All right. Ito naman, sir, another question on merging. This is also a common trend, no? Especially if there are team teach classes. If multiple sections of the same course are handled by different faculty members, and if they choose to merge the said UVLe courses, paano po ang grading system? Kailangan po ba, is it only through their own sections? Or will there be a master grader to give the grades? How will it work, sir?
It depends on the role. So as mentioned, there are different teaching roles that you can assign. So if everyone gets a teacher role, then everyone can grade and everyone can see the grades provided by whoever to a particular student. Now, if you want to set up someone as a master grader, then what you will do is to specify the main teaching role to the master grader, and then you can set up a different role to the other co-teachers. Let's say you can give them the role of teaching assistant so that they don't have grading powers, or another specific role without grading powers but with administrative capabilities. So yun, it depends on the strategy, no? So I think for those concerns, it will be best to have a small group discussion with ILC so we can provide you a specific solution po.
True. Okay, thank you for that, Sir Van. Parang very effective yung super teacher na powers talaga within UVLe. I'm sure everybody would want to become a super teacher in UVLe. This one, sir, could you discuss more tips maybe, or maybe some steps on how to e-proctor more, especially na most of our exams will be digitally launched?
Okay, in e-proctoring, it depends on it depends whether or not all of your students will be taking it on the same time. No, because if that's the case, then you can do synchronous e-proctoring, just like what we did with School of Stat. We required them to enter a Zoom meeting, and then per proctor, or depending on your monitor, you can see 25 to 36 students at a time if you have a big screen. And then you will require them to, there's a particular setup, no? So their tables must be somehow visible. No? So upper body or mga half no upper body must be visible. The teacher, you should set up the Zoom meeting such that the teacher can mute unmute a particular student, and supposedly when you unmute someone, you should be able to hear the background because you don't know, someone might be murmuring answers, right? And you should be able to see the background of the student as he or she is working on the quiz. Those types of, I think those are the general rules if it's synchronous. Now, if there's a feature for asynchronous e-proctoring, what will happen usually is the system will require the student to open the webcam, and then whatever she's doing will be recorded. Na yun nga lang, you can't parang give instructions synchronously. Parang after the fact na if ever yung investigation, you will be able to see the video recording afterwards. So it depends. No? If you're going to e-proctor, you have to consider the internet capability of the participant, because they have to do the online quiz while letting Zoom run, and that requires high bandwidth.
That is true, sir. Maraming ang files ang medyo naglalag na if it's thrown together with an active Zoom module. Okay, thank you for that, sir. Sir, within the forum, it's a forum functionality question. Would there be an additional 30 minutes every time the answer is edited from anyone who would edit an answer?
I have not tried that one, no, but I think it's fixed 30 minutes. We have to double check.
Okay, kasi baka maging endless loop pala, sir. Pwedeng revise ng revise.
I think it's fixed 30 minutes. After 30 minutes after the first post, you cannot edit it anymore.
All right. Okay. Ito naman, sir, it is like a feature within a feature. Meron po ba tayong feature where we can put quizzes within a video?
There's an activity called lesson activity. It's a very advanced tool. It's like building a learning object already. So it's like building a book with several pages. So first page could be a lesson, next page could be a quiz. You pack it as a single activity, and then it's called a lesson activity. So it can be done. But for you to be able to do that, you have to master different things. Yun lang po. You have to master the individual components, but it's possible.
Okay, thank you. Maybe last few questions na lang po. For grading offline, sir, I'm sure many are also comfortable, or maybe it's the only method available for the teachers. After checking assignments offline, would it be possible to include the option to re-upload the assignment so the student can see the feedback?
Yes. No. In fact, there's an option of uploading multiple feedback files. So there's just a specific procedure. So let's say you download all of the files, keep the file names, don't change them, edit them, put your comments in those files, then compress all of those files with your feedback in a zip file. Then there's an option to re-upload that, and then OVCAA will be able to match that to the original file.
Okay,
so there's that feature.
I see. All right. So may matching, so they can still trace the file. Okay. Sige, siguro last two na lang, sir. Saan na ba yun? Okay. Is it possible to link a rubric to the grade feature?
I think you can set up new scales. No, tama ba, Tristan? Can you verify that? No, I think you can set up new scales in term, and that scale could be applied in your in the grading of activities.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Sabi ni Tristan, scales are course-wide. So we'll look into that po, the rubric. There might be another activity designed for rubrics.
Okay. All right. Sige. All right. Thank you very much. Unfortunately po, to our attendees, we are running out of time, but don't worry because we will send an FAQ as well as all of the materials that you have here right now so that everyone can access this na lang after. Kasi I'm sure meron pa po tayong mga questions. You may also send it na lang through also our help desk, no? So if ever you would have to have other questions, maybe advanced questions, these can be allowed, or we can answer this faster. And also, we'll also be reposting the feedback form. Please, we humbly request everyone to answer this before they leave so we can have a lot of data to improve our services as well as to add more features for you. And we're also going to check what support we can give you for the next following months. Ayan, maraming salamat. So we'll be posting this in a bit. But in the meantime, allow us to welcome Director Law for a quick word before we conclude. Yes, Director Law, the floor is yours for the closing remarks.
Yes, so again, we'd like to thank everyone for attending this webinar, the second part of the webinar for today. So we're hoping that the webinar that we offered today will be helpful to you in your preparation for the remote learning and teaching for the upcoming semester. So just in case you have any other questions or you need any assistance from ILC, feel free to email us. We'll be glad to assist you in whatever way we can to help you. So with that, we thank you again very much, and please do not forget to answer our feedback form.
All
Sure,
right.
Marty.
Okay, thank you, Miss Law. And thank you again to our participants. No, we have quite a room full. Isang buong auditorium na po ata ang umattend for today. So thank you very much for taking the time to join us. And thank you also to Sir Van for giving us your expertise and tips on how to handle the new normal digitally ngayong paparating na ang next semester. Okay, so again, the webinar feedback link has been posted. Thank you very much. And your feedback will be appreciated. Maraming salamat!